Hello and welcome to FanFiction readings. I read them, so you don't have to. SamSprite speaking, and today we are going to be reading Warmth by Hidekins. How are you so warm? It's not that I'm warm, it's that you're cold. Must be your Pyro Vision. Let us begin. Amber, now! I've got it! Amber tightened her grip on her bow, knelt down, and, focusing her vision on the arrow, she aimed to the starry sky. She let the string of her bow loose, letting a rain of fiery arrows upon the Fatui Cryomage. As the Cryomage and his minions were pelted by fiery rain, the traveller jumped and, with a twirl, summoned a compact tornado, aiming for the mage. Her attack absorbed the fire from the arrows and turned into a blazing wind, sucking in the Fatui and its creatures and making short work of them. "These Fatui are everywhere," Amber remarked, and only let herself relax once a few moments had passed. Too many times had suddenly more enemies appeared right after defeating one of them. "Right, Traveller? Traveller?" Amber turned to the Traveller and gasped when she saw her on her knees, covering herself and trembling non-stop. "Traveller!" The Outrider ran to her side and just as quickly removed her jacket and placed it over the Traveller's shoulders. Amber quickly searched her pockets and failed to find any remaining heat shield potions. She then searched through the Traveller's belongings, but could not find any either. "What happened to your potions?"
"I gave you my last a while ago."
The Traveller struggled to even speak, but even so, managed to let out a weak chuckle. It took Amber a moment to process what the Traveller had told her.
"You didn't have to."
No, now was not the time to argue about these things. Amber had to get the Traveller to a fire, or a brazier quickly, or otherwise... Amber shook her head, pushing away any ifs. She had to think. Amber stood up and quickly looked around. If it were any place other than Dragonspine, she could simply set ablaze some foliage for warmth, but the seemingly eternal snowstorm made it impossible to light anything on fire. Only a torch, or some dry firewood that was hidden from the harsh weather, would be able to be set ablaze. Then it hit her. Amber remembered a small abandoned encampment hidden away in a cave. Its entrance small enough to protect anyone from the sub-zero winds of the dreaded mountain. Amber made haste and took one of the Traveller's arms and put it over her shoulder. And in one swift motion, Amber had put her arms behind the Traveller's back and underneath her legs and lifted her off the ground. It was only then that Amber noticed how cold the Traveller was and how much she was trembling. Only made more obvious when the Traveller closed her arms a little and got closer to Amber, seeking her body for warmth out of instinct. The Outrider of the Knights of Avonius had not failed in her duties of protecting others, and did not plan to change that tonight. Amber put the Traveller down on an old cloth set up by an adventurer from who knows how long ago. Closing her eyes, she focused her vision on the palm of her hand until it became engulfed in fire. The fire jumped to the old but dry firewood, starting a small campfire. Taking out her Baron Bunny, Amber placed it near the cave entrance. "Keep watch," Amber commanded, and the plush doll saluted in response and turned around to keep a vigilant eye outside. The Outrider placed her hand on the Traveller's arm. It was still cold, but she was not trembling anymore. Only then did Amber allow herself to let out a sigh of relief. She leaned against the side of the cave and slowly sat down next to the Traveller. Sharing her body warmth would help her recover faster, Amber thought. Suddenly the exhaustion of combat, hiking, and weathering the harsh temperatures of Dragonspine piled on her. Leaning on the Traveller and resting her head on her shoulder, Amber found it more difficult to keep her eyes open. Some rest would not be so bad right now, she told herself. Baron Bunny's keeping watch anyways. Amber began to wake up as she felt something move against her. The warmth of the fireplace had lulled her tired body into falling asleep. Amber stretched out her arms and let out a groan, but when she tried to get up, something held her down. Or someone. Amber looked back to see a sleeping traveller, who, in her slumber, had moved to spoon the outrider. Amber smiled and simply sat back down, relaxing in her hold. The traveller cuddled closer to Amber and let out a sigh. "You're so warm, Amber." "Well, I wasn't the one who almost froze to death." There was no witty response or remark. The traveller simply tightened her hold and pressed the side of her head against Amber's back. "I'm sorry, and thank you. In the name of Barbados." Amber knew she was not the strongest knight in the Order, nor in Mondstadt. But how could she feel so weak to this girl? It was unfair. But really, it was the Faturi's fault, the traveller mumbled. Taking over the Goth Grand Hotel wasn't enough for those guys. Now they're all over Dragonspine too? They're so annoying. The traveller simply hummed in agreement. Dragonspine had been the most inhospitable place in Teyvat so far, but this little cave was the most comfortable she had been in a while. The traveller pressed her face on Amber and cuddled her. "Are you still cold?" Not really." Both warmths from the fire and the outrider made her feel quite comfortable. "But your nose is cold," Amber remarked, and turned around to face the traveller. Amber took off her gloves and touched both of the traveller's ears. "Your hands are warm." "No, you're still cold," Amber repeated herself. The traveller unwrapped her arms off of Amber, and instead took hold of her hands, intertwining her fingers with hers. "I don't feel cold," the traveller whispered, but leaned closer to Amber. "Maybe the geohypostasis hit you too hard in the head when I wasn't keeping an eye on you in leeway." Amber laughed at her own joke, but quickly grew silent when the traveller leaned closer and pressed her lips on her own. "Well, is my nose still cold? Maybe I should check again, just to make sure." And that's the end of that. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked the video, give it a like. It helps out a ton. And if you want to be notified about any future videos I make, subscribe. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.